For most of your career, the financial instruction manual is simple. Earn more, maximize your accounts, and keep pushing until you hit age 65. That relentless script creates a psychological trap. You become so identified with the act of saving that the baseline anxiety never shuts off, forcing you to maintain a heavy hustle even if the actual job of funding your future is already finished. Let's look at this diagram mapping out a specific retirement destination. To spend $60,000 a year in retirement, standard historical withdrawal rules calculate that you need a final portfolio pool of $1.5 million by age 65. But we have to ask if that timeline is set in stone. Can we reverse engineer the math so you don't actually have to carry that heavy financial burden all the way to standard retirement age? The math reveals a specific threshold where your required future contributions drop to absolute zero. Once you cross this line, the heavy lifting permanently shifts off your weekly paycheck and onto compound interest. Holding a $1.5 million target at 65 with 7% real growth, we step backward. At 55, the required baseline is $762,000. At 45, it drops to $388,000. At 25, the requirement plummets to $100,000. The investor supplies just 6.7% of the final target. The compounding engine takes over to manufacture the remaining 93.3%. It is a strictly hands-off asset allocation built entirely on simple, low-cost, and broadly diversified index funds. Trying to time the market, chase trends, or pick stocks introduces severe operational friction. That friction compromises the reliability of your projected path. Doing the absolute least amount of work with your investments is the mathematically sound method to reliably secure your future financial freedom. You have to audit these numbers carefully because sloppy assumptions create a dangerous, fragile plan. The fastest way to trick yourself is to use a 10% nominal market return instead of the 7% real return that properly subtracts inflation. Caution changes the math. Our base case uses 7% growth and a 4% withdrawal. The cautious case lowers growth to 6.5% and withdrawal to 3.7%. For a 45-year-old, these tighter variables shift the required portfolio threshold from $388,000 up to $460,000. These two numbers create a financial range, a coast band rather than a single magic point. That gap provides a measurable buffer against future market uncertainty. Verifying these variables ensures you aren't simply trading the anxiety of undersaving for a falsely reassuring spreadsheet that collapses the moment reality hits. Crossing this mathematical threshold carries a very specific definition. Hitting your coast number does not mean you can march into the office tomorrow, quit your job, and stop paying your mortgage or grocery bills. It strictly means your future retirement bill is already funded. The mandated ongoing retirement contributions that were draining your current cash flow can safely drop to zero. This chart shows exactly how your present-day cash flow changes. By removing the heavy burden of required retirement savings at the top, the mandatory gross income your current job has to produce shrinks significantly. A lower income requirement makes a wide range of lifestyle changes feasible. You can negotiate fewer hours, take a pay cut for a career change, or start a business without sacrificing your future security. The lazy portfolio produces the capital required to ensure that work no longer dictates every decision in your life.